Hey everyone, in today's video we want to talk about int, round, round down, up, and truncate, which is just trunk. So this is a pretty simple video, and I have a fairly simple file for you to download if you want to play along. And it goes like this. All of the magic happens with the onChange event for this radio group set here, and I'm simply putting in the int function, the round down, round up, and trunk function in here. Every time I make a change between the radio dial, I'm setting a formula called V formula. I'm spitting out V formula here in this yellow item. And then we're simply going to put the text input in this text input box called text input 1, which you can see referenced in each one of the functions where you see text input 1.text. So let's look at this. So the integer is simply just going to convert a string to an integer, but interestingly, a call out to this text field. The format comes in two varieties. Its default variant is text, but I can also convert text to a number by putting in this constraint so that nothing can be put into this text input field other than a number. So I have done that here, so make sure you do that as well if your intention is something similar where you only want to collect numbers and not necessarily characters. Okay, now numbers also include floating point decimals, so just know that even though the period is a character, it's actually used or counted as a decimal when you're using the integer data type or integer format here. So we'll accept this. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and let's click the int. I'm going to type in, let's see, 156.39, well, let's do 7362, whatever, some random number. Okay, now this is blank because I haven't done the onChange event. We'll do round, we'll go back to int, and we see that I get 156. Now, even though this is legal, I got a bunch of floating point decimals, and that's essentially what the integer does. We click the documentation here, we can go through all of this and read individually through it that int rounds down to the nearest integer, meaning whole number, and the key is it's going to round down. So it doesn't matter what it is, whatever the whole number is, essentially it's going to just stay that number, and that's the way it's going to be. Even if it's 101.999999, it doesn't matter. It's just going to round it down to 101. Okay, so to see this in action, I could do 101.99999. We'll go ahead, we'll hit round. Here we get 102 because essentially rounding is going to automatically round. If I were to change this 9 to a 4 and then do int and then round, I'm going to get 101.5 to round it here. If I do 0.6, go back to get that onChange event, I'm going to get 101.7. Okay, so also interestingly enough, let's look at the code and let's look at the round function, because round takes a decimal placeholder. So let's go back to the documentation. So the way you use round, round up, round down, okay, each of these has an item called precision. And so this precisional item allows us to determine how many points after the decimal do we want to round, okay, or include in our rounding. Most of you are going to choose 2. Some of you may choose 1, and a handful of you may choose 0, but if that's the case, then you can just, or should use, just basically round anyway. Unless, of course, you want to force a round up or force a round down, then I could see you using that. But in any event, I've got varying degrees of precision. So for round, I've got 3 levels of precision. Round down, I have 2 levels of precision. And round down essentially is almost going to be like round, but I'm going to force it to go down. And I'm doing 0 precision. So I'll always get, or should always get, a whole number. And trunk just says, I don't care what you got after the decimal. We're just going to leave it whatever the whole number is, okay? So it's somewhat similar to the round piece of it, but it won't necessarily always affect the whole number unless, of course, you have a precision that would force the change. So on this one, again, round, I'm doing on 3 let's interestingly change the precision here to 0. Let's see what we get. So let's do this, and let's go off and come back on. We get 102. And if I change this to 4, int round, it stays the same. What if I do 5, int round, I get 102. Okay, so 5 and above rounds up, 4 and below rounds down when I have this type of precisional rounding. Otherwise, you would get, if I did 0.1 or the second parameter here on the round function, if I did a precision of not 0 but did it like 1, then that won't affect the entire or the whole number. Most of you already know this. This is like watching paint dry, so I'm not going to spend too much more time on it, but it just, for those that aren't that familiar with it, just wanted to spend a little bit of time here. 0.4999. We'll go back to here. Okay, so we don't affect the whole number. We simply just affect that other number that is inside of it. That should be like 0.7 if I guessed correctly, and I'm pretty sure I did. So there we go. In any event, so that's how this works. If I do trunk, we get 101, round up because of the precision of 0. Now round down is going to do nothing. It's just going to leave it there, but I had a precision of 2. So I get 69, and because this was a 9, and I'm forcing a round down, doesn't matter, I'm over the edge anyway, so it's just going to stay right there where it is at 9. So this is how you use the int, round, round down, round up, and trunk functions. That's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.